This is the final video of the Intro to Pro, video number 4, and we're going to do some fun things here with some elevation data. The first thing I'm trying to do here is pick a different color ramp that's a little bit more subtle than the one we started out with. You can use whatever you like, and as long as it's not too bright and contrasty. All right, so I settled on elevation number 3 in the symbology ramp over here. The reason I chose it is that I didn't want any white areas that show high elevations. It gives the viewer the impression that this is the Alps or the Himalayas or something. Since none of our elevations are that high, this brown here is the highest ground and the green is the lowest. Okay, so now it's time to add some more data. Go to Arc Catalog, and this time add the buildings. And I'm going to let you guys either clip these buildings to the South Lakes High School attendance zone, or you could use the selection by location method again, and I'll join you on the other side. Okay, so I've clipped mine to the attendance zone and called the buildings SLHS zone buildings. I actually used select by location for that. And for the symbology, I changed it to a blue color because it would contrast with that background, with that elevation background, and I took away the outline color, so it's just the fill and no outline for the buildings. We'll see how that works out. Okay. Make sure you're logged in up here at the top. If you haven't already logged in, make sure that you're logged into your ArcGIS Online account through here. So now we're going to go up to the top and click where it says View. We're on Map right now. 3 tabs to the right, click on View, and then over here click on Convert to a local scene. Let it run. As it continues to load, you'll notice that up here you have a new tab now. You have the map frame that we were in before, but now we also have a map in 3D. So we just have to let it finish here. There it goes. It's almost finished. You'll notice an appearance change usually when this happens. It just has to do with the way this works. And then down here at the bottom left, you're going to see something appear that wasn't here before. Elevation surfaces. We have ground and then world elevation underneath the ground. The ground surface that we're using at the moment is the world elevation 3D terrain model. It's not the one that we brought in and colorized. It's actually built into ArcGIS. Okay, so we're going to click on ground, click on the word ground at the bottom here, and then go up to the top where it says appearance and click on that. And we're going to change our vertical exaggeration to 2. You might feel like there's some pretty steep hills around Reston, but relatively speaking, it's pretty flat. So it just seems like it's steeper to us because we're tiny. But to see much on our map here, we're going to want to increase that from that vertical exaggeration to 2. Got to let it redo. It's going to redo its calculations. Okay, it's almost done here. And now we're going to hold down the V key on your keyboard. Hold down the V key on your keyboard, and now you'll notice it changes your mouse or your pointer. It becomes like a globe. If you click the left mouse button, you can twist it back and forth. But what I want you to do is, while you're holding that mouse button down, push it away from you, straight up toward the top. So we get like a perspective view of Reston like that. Okay. Now let go of the view key or the V key and just now use the wheel on your mouse and just roll in. Notice that you can zoom in and out by just rolling the mouse key. Okay. Now hold down the V key again and roll the mouse. Okay, that's still doing the same thing. That didn't change anything. But if you hold down the left button, you see you'll be able to rotate the map back and forth like this. Okay. Now let go of the V key and move the mouse back and forth while holding the left key. Or the left, it rotates it a little differently. Okay. And if you just click on the map without holding down the V key, it just slides it left and right. Or you can push it to the top, move it up and down. If you roll, you zoom in. Okay, so you get it. Just want you to get familiar with how you can navigate around in here. So let's roll in towards South Lakes High School. I'm going to rotate this a little bit. I'm holding the V key now. I want to rotate this a little bit and get this perspective like this. And now I'm going to roll the mouse forward and zoom in a bit. I'm going to hold the V key down again so I can tilt it a little bit more and bring it in like this. Okay. So you want to be looking like over these neighborhoods here towards South Lakes High School, Langston Hughes, and Terracet. Okay. Okay, so let's work with just the base map by turning off the South Lakes High School zone elevation 30. And let's go over to map for a moment. And change the base map to imagery. It'll take a while to refresh. And if we roll forward a little bit, so we're looking at Lake Audubon right here and Lake Thoreau over there. Let's come in to the point we're about right here, just looking over this neighborhood, and there's the schools. Okay, looks good, right? If you want to play with that for a minute, if you hold down the V key for a second, get this little earth with arrows on it, and then tilt, you really start to see how the lake is disappearing because it's like we've made the landscape like much more mountainous than it really is because we exaggerated it by 2 times, but it helps us see things better. Okay, so now we're going to move to the next step and try to change the building heights. So we'll go, okay, now highlight SLHS zone buildings, and we're going to right click on that and look at its attribute table for a moment. So you'll see a top elevation. The top elevation is the absolute elevation of the top of the building from sea level. Okay, so we don't want to use that. And we have a ground elevation right here. And you can see, if you subtract these two, you can get the height of the building. But if you keep going across, the building height's right here. So we're going to use the building height to extrude these buildings upward. Okay, so let's try that. Close this table. Now let's go back up to Appearance and click on Field, and we're going to choose Building Height, and let's see what happens. Okay, after a lot of fiddling around, I went up here to Appearance, and this time I set it to minimum height Extrusion is added to the feature's minimum Z value. Going to use building height for the Z value. So you would choose building height for the Z value, and then it'll run, and you will get this result. Okay, and that's all I really have for you with this one, just to get you acquainted with working with 3D, and we'll do more with this in a future lesson.